Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of ATG from the GTA. Tom here.
My name is Rose.
Right here is Cam.
Today we're going to talk to you guys about something that's near dear to our hearts here at ATG. And that's video games that have created their own genre, or at least popularized a genre. Cam, what games, or at least a game, do you think kind of made it all happen?
I'm going to have to go with the one that popularized the fantasy world is The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, like that's one of the first adventure RPGs, right?
Give or take, yes.
Rose, what about you?
Definitely Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Gotta catch them on.
Yeah.
Catch them all.
Not only did that popularize a game, it created a whole culture.
It
Yeah.
did, yes.
Like Pokemon became a phenomenon, you know?
Yeah.
All those little kids catching random monsters, making them battle each other. Like, who do you think did it first? Michael Vick or Nintendo?
No, I'm not touching that one.
Seriously, right? Okay.
Thomas, how about
Great.
you?
For me, I'm thinking Contra. That whole like side-scrolling arcade-style shoot-'em-up. Back in the day, that was really, really popular. But here's the thing. All these games, one thing they have in common is that they pretty much made a certain genre of game popular. Like Super Mario, right?
That's correct.
First platformer, essentially, right?
Essentially the first platformer, yes, agreed.
But here's the thing, right? RPGs. What do you guys think the first major RPG that made RPGs popular was? Like, we all know that Dragon Warrior is considered the first RPG for NES, right?
Yeah.
But that game sold horribly in North America.
It did, yes.
Really popular in Japan, so I guess that might have started it in Japan. But in North America, terrible selling game. In fact, North Americans didn't really like RPGs. So what do you guys think started it all here in North America?
Final Fantasy, duh.
Right, of course.
That's right, Final Fantasy. But it wasn't really easy. It didn't start out like, they released Final Fantasy for NES and all of a sudden it was a hit. It really wasn't that popular again in North America. The thing is, us people here, we didn't like to read.
We still don't to this day.
I totally.
We're so spoiled with voice actors, we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, now we definitely don't need to read. But back then, I guess we didn't like to read. I don't really know what the reason was, but it just didn't sell. Funny story, Squaresoft actually thought it was because we were too stupid. North Americans couldn't grasp the complexity of an RPG. So they released an RPG catered to North Americans, and it was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Or in Japan, they called it Final Fantasy USA Mystic Quest.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I remember.
Yes, yeah.
So the game sold terribly in Japan because it was essentially like a watered down RPG. They took out all the things that they thought were too difficult for us North Americans. There was very little story. The combat system was pretty much autopilot.
Yeah.
You can just go and it would just do everything for you.
Really?
Yeah, you could avoid battles because they thought, maybe you were fighting too many monsters and that didn't make you want to play the game.
Didn't want to grind.
Yeah, maybe it was the grinding that really bothered people.
Yeah.
So you could totally avoid all the battles if you wanted to. And the funny thing is, it didn't really matter if you leveled up because essentially the game was autopilot. So you could beat the game even if you avoided every battle. And it actually didn't sell well here either. So they're like, shit, we fucked up. It wasn't until Final Fantasy 6 or 3 here because, again, the RPGs weren't selling, so we didn't get a bunch of Final Fantasies. They tried with 4.
Which is 2.
Yep.
Again, it didn't sell well. So they said, fuck it, we're not sending them 5 because these motherfuckers, didn't buy 2, right? But like I said, it started with FF6. That was the first RPG. It sold extremely well, and it kind of started RPGs in North America.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, it's considered the granddaddy of RPGs in general because it was the first RPG that genuinely had like an epic story.
Okay, I agree with you on that one.
That had this huge open world map that had multiple story arcs, surprises that kind of made a storybook come to life. It really did well. I think it's probably one of the most iconic games because that's what pretty much created the RPG genre. I feel that everybody's favorite Final Fantasy will always be the first one that they play.
Yes.
So tell me guys, what's your favorite Final Fantasy?
I'm going to have to go with number 4.
Talk about it,
4
man.
or 2, whichever version you want to say, though. That was my very first Final Fantasy.
Wait. That's the one with Cecil, right?
Cecil Harvey, yes.
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight turned Paladin.
All right, Cam. Try to be as spoiler-free as possible because, maybe there's people who have been living under a rock and they haven't played a game from like 1993.
Yeah, of course.
But if you haven't played it, definitely you should. Even though it wasn't popular at the time of release, it is considered one of the best Final Fantasy games.
Yes.
So play it. The story is great. Cecil is a fantastic character that kind of battles with light and dark.
Yes, of course. The classic Light and Dark, man.
Dude, Cam, tell me about it, man. Tell our listeners a little bit about the story. Tell me what your favorite parts were. Maybe a little spoiler here or there, but keep it good.
Of course. What I loved about this game, the little history of it, it was the very first Final Fantasy with a major storyline. All the other ones was just a basic, group of people, find a crystal, fulfill their destiny, right? It was very generic, very basic. In the previous games, they all had like multiple job classes.
Yeah, there was no actual like characters. There's like the Warrior of Light,
The
or
Warrior
the
of Light,
Onion Knight, you
the
know?
Black Mage, the
Yeah.
White
Yeah.
Mage.
Exactly.
This one, they all actually, each character was that class. I thought that was amazing. Cecil Harvey, the Dark Knight, turned Paladin. Edge, the Ninja. Kane, the Dragoon. I think that was the first, no, never mind. It wasn't the first Dragoon. Rydia, the Black Mage.
Well,
and-
the thing is, they kept the classes from the classic Final Fantasy, so you had the nostalgia there. You're like, oh
Yes.
yeah, I can play as a Black Knight, but they gave them personalities.
they gave them
Yes.
personalities. That's what I loved about it.
And they gave them all badass names. Did you notice that?
Yeah, of course, of course. The music was phenomenal. I can listen to the 8-bit versions of the soundtrack any time of the day.
I agree 100%. You know, considering the Super Nintendo, a
16
pretty limited system, right?
16-bit, sorry, yes.
It's amazing how many epic songs you got out of these games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue, man. Tell me a little bit about the story. What did you like the most about it? Or tell me some epic moments that blew your mind when you were a kid.
Epic moments at the time was, while we were playing these games growing up, the bosses, they didn't really have much of a personality. It was just at the end of the dungeon, there's a boss. These bosses in this, the 4 fiends, they had their own personalities. One of them was a character in disguise that you were being manipulated by without knowing.
Totally.
Another one was holding a character hostage that you had to save. Like, they just had their own personalities. And then at one point, you actually had to fight all 4 at once. You don't really see that happen often.
Totally, right? At that time, you're just like, holy crap, like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah,
You know?
one was hard enough. Now, all 4 of them, holy crap. And then as the Battle for Fiends was playing, best moment. That actually made me piss myself.
Nice.
And the Chocobos. You gotta love the Chocobos. This is the first Final Fantasy that had the flying black Chocobos.
That is true. Actually, you're right. They added even some diversity in walking chickens.
Yeah, their versions of Pokemons if you must.
Well, they didn't really battle, did they?
No, they didn't really back. Actually, yeah, as a summon. That counts.
You're right.
That
You're
counts
right,
as a
you're right.
summon. And I just love the whole rivalry between the main characters. We don't really get that much either. It's the first. Kane and Cecil, the two like best of the best of their class, but who wants to be the best of that kingdom. I really love that. I just loved how much the personality was just given. You know what I mean?
You liked how it was a complete story, you know?
Yes, how it was a complete story.
It hit you right in the field.
All right, Roro, what about you? What is your favorite Final Fantasy game?
So I've been told that my favorite Final Fantasy is apparently the worst Final Fantasy in the series.
Wait, your favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest USA?
Wait, what?
Really?
No!
Someone actually likes okay. So,
No,
okay,
no.
so then it's not
No.
the worst.
It's not the worst.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the worst according to the internet.
Oh, okay. You don't want to piss off the interwebs.
No?
No,
Go on.
but you know what? It was my first Final Fantasy, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. It's Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh.
I can feel the internet just judging me right now.
You know what? I will share your unpopular opinion. I honestly thought Final Fantasy VIII was pretty fun.
I actually like moments in 8.
I
I'm
think-
not gonna lie.
loved 8.
Yeah, I think it was like Final Fantasy the soap opera.
It was, yes.
Yes.
You know, like if how they made Final Fantasy X2 to cater more towards girls. I think Final Fantasy VIII totally catered towards like
Hell yeah! Freaking Squall! Oh my
Squall
god.
and Renoa, that love.
Squall, you're the best looking guy in here.
oh yeah, you're the best looking guy here.
Yo, but I ain't gonna lie, man. Bitches love scars.
That's true. Yeah, he was a soft, quiet type, but he had the badass scars.
Bitches
yeah.
love scars, man.
So you know he took no shit.
Yeah.
So, alright, let's hear this.
Final Fantasy VIII's my favorite. I really liked the character designs. I really liked how Squall's character looked. You know, with that cool hair, the scar, the leather jacket with the fur, and his gun blade, the actual weapon.
Jacket with the fur. Squall be looking at her.
Oh my god, you guys. Honestly, Squall's character design is really well done. I really liked his weapon as well, the Gunblade, which is the first of its class. This is the first Final Fantasy game with this kind of weapon.
I agree.
You know what? Yeah, I agree too. I think the Gunblade was a really, really unique weapon.
it was a neat concept.
Also, during battles, when you pull the R1 trigger, you also do extra attack.
Yeah, you got the timing right.
You pulled
Yeah.
the trigger. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you think the Gunblade holds a candle towards the best, obviously the best weapon in Final Fantasy VIII?
Yes, it is.
Debatable.
No. I think the best weapon's gotta be the Angelo cannon.
Oh, yeah.
The Angelo Cannon.
Oh my God.
Okay,
So-
why don't you tell our listeners what that is? Because they're probably like, Angelo cannon? What the hell is that?
So there's a character named Renoa, you know, the one in the blue outfit, and the one that's in love with Squall. One of her weapons is this thing that shoots out of her arm, and she has a dog named Angelo, and he's like a Saint Bernard. If you know what a Saint Bernard is, they're pretty big dog. They're mountain dogs. Now, Angelo comes to her aid sometimes, to help her fight. One of the attacks is called Angelo Cannon. So Angelo runs out of nowhere, jumps on her arm. She aims at the enemy and shoots Angelo right out of her arm.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
Dude, that is totally 100% awesome. I agree. That's crazy. Does it do good damage?
Yeah, but honestly, Renoa's arm's so tiny. How does she have a 200-pound dog on her arm?
Yo, this girl can lift.
She could lift, yes.
Listen, don't ask questions, man. RPG mentality.
Video games logic.
Video game physics.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so you talked about some of the characters and some of the weapons that you like. What about any specific story parts or anything in the game that really kind of stuck out to you and made Final Fantasy VIII your favorite?
Well, the beginning opening scene, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. I just watched it accompanied with the really cool PS1 graphics, the song, the music, and then the questions, the words that were popping up in the opening scene. It was just so, I don't know, it really touched me. My favorite part in the game was when you actually got to see Rinoa meeting Squall. In a lot of the earlier RPGs, they don't actually show the emotions or the actions of how they meet. Now with Final Fantasy VIII, it was one of the, Final Fantasy VII also had cinematics, but they weren't that great.
Well, here's the thing, you mentioned graphics earlier, and one thing that I would really like to point out, and I think you guys here agree with me, is that the graphics between 7 and 8, the difference,
huge difference,
Yes.
was enormous. It
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
it was like
Eyes.
a circle with some eyes and some spiky hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even though they're made for the same system, there was definitely a lot more advancement in Final Fantasy VIII.
100%, actually.
So you got to see this emotion, the action. You got to see them move normal people. Like watching a movie, I was just so captivated when they were doing their first dance. That was so amazing to me.
Totally. I agree 100%. I think maybe Final Fantasy might not be the worst Final Fantasy. Maybe the most underrated?
Underrated, I would say. In comparison to how much love 7 gets,
Listen.
everyone overlooks everything else.
Okay, I'm not going to
in
say...
my opinion.
I agree. I'm not going to say 7's a bad Final Fantasy.
It's overplayed.
It had its moments.
Yes.
Come on. When Aerith got killed...
What about Sid when he died in FF6? Did that not count? What about when Edward died in FF2? Did that not count?
But
every other character has died anyways.
But they weren't party members.
Yeah, fair assessment.
This is true.
You
Sid-
didn't lose items. You weren't like, oh no, I didn't equip her.
You didn't have to
Shit.
grind as much. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, fair assessment. You got me there.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Final Fantasy is my favorite, because God knows it's not. The amount of cliches in that RPG blew my mind. You're a clone, I'm a clone, everyone's a clone. We're all related, but we're not. And you have Crisis Core made Final Fantasy VII better, because they made it a little
They touched up on some things.
Yeah, they made it a little less, I don't know how to say that, predictable, I guess,
it
you
fucked
know?
with the storyline, but whatever, who cares?
Kind of needed to fuck with the storyline, because literally the storyline is probably the weakest part of 7.
Translation errors, yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
In
lots of
general,
translation
right?
errors.
But here's the thing: Final Fantasy VII is probably considered one of the best Final Fantasies ever made. But
Debatable.
I have a theory. I think Final Fantasy VII is 90% of people's first Final Fantasy. Right?
That is correct.
So up until then, remember, 6 made RPGs popular.
And 4 was my first, though.
And 4 was your first, but a lot of people didn't play 4. A lot of people didn't play 6. The next generation of gamers, they didn't even have Super Nintendos. They got the PlayStation, and one of the launch titles was Final Fantasy VII.
I keep forgetting that it was a launch title.
It was
You
a
are
launch
correct.
title. It literally sold PlayStations like hotcakes. And not because it was an RPG. It sold them because the cinematics for FF7 at the time were amazing. The rendered backgrounds. It was one of the first games ever to use rendered backgrounds. The in-game graphics were trash.
Right.
Yeah.
The rendered backgrounds, even in-game, at the time, looked crazy. So people were looking at this game, and it was just advertised as an epic game. So even people who never wanted to play an RPG were like, I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And the popularity at the time, people were like, have you played 7? They're like, no. And they're like, what, are you lame?
Yeah, of
You
course.
know what I mean? So I think that's why that's probably someone's favorite. However, my personal favorite,
Go on.
it's got to be Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III in North America.
So why is that your favorite one, Tom? Is it because that's your first RPG ever?
Okay.
Let's hear this.
Definitely not my first RPG. I did actually grind through Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest in Japan, but it was my first Final Fantasy. I actually never had Final Fantasy on Nintendo.
Not many did,
Not many did. I did end up buying it afterwards
but that doesn't count.
because I still had my Nintendo, and I was still a kid technically. It was my first RPG. I did play Final Fantasy Mystic Quest before that. I rented it.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
My condolences.
I was like, when do I get to play? I'm like, why is it just attacking everything by itself? No, I ended up renting at first, and then I was just like blown away by the epicness. I actually played 3 before I played 2, so I played 6 before I played 4.
Right, fair.
Yeah.
And it's what opened up like the whole RPG to me. Like I said, it is considered the RPG that started it all. Although, like you said, Cam, 4 did have one of the first actual stories. It was very linear, and it wasn't until 6 where you got all these different arcs. Characters had their own stories, their own quests.
You know what? I totally agree with you. There was a large amount of characters to choose from.
Oh yeah, there was a part of the game where right after the World of Ruin happened, all your characters were split up.
Yeah, that was pretty damn cool.
And you had to start searching for friends.
I see what you did there.
Well played.
Each time you would kind of branch off and you would find out more about that character and how they interacted. Each character had their own little mini quest based on their personalities. You know, you had Figaro Castle side quest. You had Sabin, Kung Fu Master. You trained him in the forest. You had Locke, a treasure hunter, thief, right?
Yeah.
He was originally out for himself and then kind of warmed up to people. You had Celis, who was the Magitech Knight.
The phenomenal character.
Yeah, she's an amazing character who not only did she turn from evil to good, but she had that epic, like, heart-wrenching moment where you were in the opera house and she had to sub in for the singer, Maria, because she looked like her, right? And you even had the first playable gag characters. Like, you had Umaru.
Best fucking character ever, baby.
And there was no story. You just found him in a cave and you didn't even get to control him because he was a Yeti. And he would just...
He was always in berserk mode, that's right.
Always in berserk mode. He just kicked the crap out of shit.
Strongest character.
You had Mog.
Mog.
Like, there were
The
always
bats.
Mughals. Exactly. There was always Mughals.
They were
in Final
always Mughals, but
Fantasies.
this was the first you got to, it was actually playable, was it not?
First playable Mughal is also the first talking Mughal.
That's right. Other than saying Kupo and, you know.
Yeah, he learned the language. You had Gao. Like, the first character you literally found while fighting monsters.
Yes, yes.
And if you hit him, he ran away.
Yeah.
You would have to lure him with food for him to join your party. There was all these, how do I put it, intricacies that you needed in this game that you could have just missed. There's characters that you couldn't have got. There was characters like Gogo, who up until 5 years after I owned the game, I didn't even know existed, because back then there was no strategy guides.
Shadow.
Another thing that you could have missed. Like, at the end of the World of Ruin, they say, should we jump off? And
Or should we wait?
should we wait? And here's the thing, you had to wait, like, I think 2 or 3 times.
No, it was like the last 3 seconds. That's fine.
No, I think, like, wait, and then, okay, time's passed. Should we jump off? You had to wait a specific amount of times for
yes.
Shadow to
Actually come by.
to come back. And if you didn't, he died.
You're right. That was pretty damn cool.
As much as we like to say that the death of Aeris was the first heart-wrenching moment of Final Fantasy, I think Final Fantasy VI beat it when you had Kefka. Probably the most evil villain ever.
So evil.
Fuck Sephiroth. Kefka is the ultimate villain.
Kefka is literally the Joker in Final Fantasy World.
Yes.
Like, that guy was insane.
Yeah, he was.
Imagine playing this game as a kid, and then you see Kefka poison a whole village.
Just because he felt like it.
Just because he felt like it.
And that laugh of his.
Yeah, that was like so iconic. Every time he did something evil or was gonna do something evil, he did the laugh and you're like, this motherfucker's up to something. I'll never forget when Cian's family got killed by Kefka.
Oh my god.
And here's the thing, they incorporated that into a side quest.
Yes.
Like the ghost train.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
At the end, he was like, he saw his family and he was just torn up. And I don't know how this cannot be someone's, or at least one of someone's favorite RPGs. There's so many moments that you're just, holy shit. And at the end, when you were fighting Kefka, his form, his last form where he was like this epic angel looking monster. Holy crap. And at the end, you had to swap parties. You had to have every character.
You had to put them in an order, did you not?
Well, you had 3 different parties.
Yeah.
And you had to have each character had to be strong because you had to do different parts of the ending.
And no
with
other
different
Final
parties.
Fantasy has ever done that. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Crazy. Side quests galore. Secrets. Just talking about it makes me want to go and play that game right now. It was amazing.
Was that not the first Final Fantasy that actually had a good world and then like the world that gone to shit?
I don't know if it was the first actually, but it definitely did have
A
the
vibrant
yeah.
first world, vibrant colors and whatnot.
And then Kefka messed around with the statues.
Kefka was being Kefka.
Kefka was being Kefka. Destroyed the whole world because he felt like it.
I believe so.
True. Yeah, man. You had the iconic airships.
Airships, baby.
Yeah.
The Ragnarok in 8. That was pretty damn
yes.
cool.
And it was the first Final Fantasy, if I'm not mistaken, where each character had a unique ability.
That is true. They had their unique ability. Like, whereas 4, as I mentioned earlier, the classes, they just had their own personality. Yep. But everyone had a unique ability as well. So same, but different.
And every character could learn magic.
That was a new one.
Wait, was it also the first one where you could summon?
Well, no. Technically, the previous ones did. Like 4, there was a summoner class.
No, I know there was the summoner class, but this was the first one where you could equip Magicite and use that Magicite to summon. Each character could do it.
You're correct.
It was really like the pioneer for so many things that have stuck through the Final Fantasy series.
The tropes and whatnot.
Yeah, till, the most recent one. Ramuh was in Final Fantasy 6. Ramuh was in Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
The legendary Bahamut.
The legendary Bahamut. Like, totally. Like, they introduced so many, like,
Yeah,
I guess...
on a technicality, that's correct.
Bahamut.
Bahamut was correct.
Bahamut.
Okay, it sounds weird, but yes. Moving on.
Moving on. Big dragon with mega flare.
The king of all summons.
Yes. I don't know, man. What was your favorite summons, guys? Like, out of all the games. Enough about FF6. It was epic. If you haven't played it, go play it. Seriously, go play it.
Roro.
Oh, are we talking about summons, or
Okay,
are you talking
okay.
about telling me to play 6 now? Because I
Okay.
did encounter Kefka in Dissidia.
Dissidia was good.
Yeah, Dissidia was really,
Well,
really
you know
good.
what? If you want to ever play it, I literally have, like, every version. If you have a PlayStation, I have the PlayStation
Can
one.
I borrow your Super Nintendo Mini and never give it back?
Well, yes, if, Nintendo would make more. It's like, I don't want to have to go buy one on eBay for, like, $250.
Sons of whore. Okay, so our favorite summons.
Yeah, back to the main conversation.
Our topic.
Main topic.
Favorite summons, right?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Any game.
honestly, I really liked Diablos.
Oh.
Diablos was pretty badass, even though he was like the demi magic type, but he just looked so badass.
Diablo was like FF8 exclusive, right?
He came back as a boss in 11, I believe, but he was the only summon.
Like,
in
I'm
8.
thinking Diablos, and the only opening I'm thinking of is FF8, which was fucking epic.
His summon in FF8 was just so awesome. There's all these bats. They all come and they all like melt together into this big ass dark sphere, okay? Then Diablos comes out from the sphere, his wings and
Dripping
everything,
all black
dripping all this
goo.
black goo and,
And
all that stuff.
he looked intimidating.
He
Yeah,
looked
he was.
really awesome. So it was like
And then
gravity
it
ball
has
you.
this cool, like, effect. Okay.
Yeah.
You-
okay, let me talk.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so in FF8, after you get to go to explore in the whole world, before that though, Headmaster Sid gives you the lamp.
Yeah.
I always opened it right then and there so I can get Diablos first.
Yeah.
He was really tough to beat. He was
sure.
really
The
tough.
first time you opened the lamp, were you just like, ah, shit?
Yes! the first time I got it, I was like, ah, shit.
Wait, what is this?
What is this?
Oh my God,
Oh
this
god,
is
I'm
actually
gonna
pretty
die.
cool.
Okay,
Shit, I didn't save. Oh my god, I did not save.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Seriously. Okay. What about you, man? Out of all the summons.
I'm gonna have to go with the Gyarados of this universe, Leviathan.
Leviathan was really awesome too.
Alright.
Leviathan was amazing. The water serpent, the tidal wave,
Tsunami.
the tsunami, and FF4. It was the first summon you encountered that destroyed your party. And when you finally got to tame, capture, pick one, Leviathan, I was like, yes, all that power, you're all fucked now. And any iteration from there on out, like I remember they summoned Leviathan in 9, part of the storyline.
Oh, yeah.
They had to fight Leviathan in 15 most recently.
It's always like you fight him and his like tidal wave wipes out your whole party. Then you get him and you're like, the power is mine. And then you realize like all enemies are like immune to water pretty much. You're like, why do you not do a lot of damage?
but later games, it just like it negated defense. Regardless though, dear heart to me, because after it ripped my party apart, later on in the game, you got to fight Leviathan and tame him, pick one. Fuck, that was amazing.
I agree, man. All right.
Thomas, let's hear this.
For me, I gotta go with my Final Fantasy waifu and have to say Shiva.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
Move
Hold
over.
on. Did you like Shiva from Final Fantasy 13?
Well, here's the perfect thing about Shiva. Every game, her move always has the same ending. There you go.
The snap. Yes.
To me, I don't know. I love it. Doesn't matter what game you summon her in. It has this epic animation where she turns everything into ice because, diamond dust in every game.
Yes.
And at the end, she does the snap and it just shatters. I don't know. To me, it was awesome.
Fuck you, Elsa.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Elsa.
Yeah.
Shiva forever.
Exactly.
I agree. One of the most iconic summons as well.
Totally.
You got the fire, Ifrit, and then you got the ice, Shiva.
Yep.
Fucking
100%.
You always had to have
Like,
the two.
don't get me wrong. As hot as like a half-naked ice chick is, she definitely wasn't the coolest looking summon.
No.
No.
Like, you had Bahamut, you had Ifrit, you had Diablos.
Yep.
These were all these epic things. Anima from FF10, which was crazy cool.
Yeah.
Titan.
Gilgamesh.
Oh, and Odin.
Yep.
Oh, Nothing. Or come on, Ramu from FF15.
Yes.
When I was playing the demo and you summoned Ramu, I was
huge that
I was like, I love this game. It was epic, but you know what? Doesn't have the iconicness that Shiva has, and I just love how they kept her moves so similar.
Yeah.
That you knew exactly what to expect every game.
That's the one thing I loved about the summons is all their moves are so similar in their own way, but just how did they execute it this time?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it. The tidal wave, the diamond dust, Diablo, even though he's only one game, still pretty damn awesome.
Yep.
So awesome.
Ifrit, Hellfire.
Ifrit was really cool too.
Omega Flare. Like, there's just so many
ways of how they execute it. They was all the same. It's the execution now.
Honorable mention though to Alexander.
Alexander
was really good.
Because that's probably, in my opinion, other than like FF15 Ramu, because that was like crazy. Alexander's probably, in my opinion, the most epic looking summon.
Dude, in Final Fantasy 9, when Alexander spread the wings to fight against Bahamut.
Hell yeah. And just started shooting. Oh man, it's crazy. Total like epicness. However, that's not what I think the most iconic things about Final Fantasy is.
Of course not.
The games may be iconic in how we remember them or how they built up our gaming careers. The summons and the graphics may be iconic because they're beautiful to look at. But I think the thing that people remember most from all the Final Fantasy games, from the first one to the most recent one, has got to be the music.
Yes.
Yeah, it
definitely.
is.
The music.
The music is just so awesome. I cannot even begin to explain to you how Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack is probably the best soundtrack of all Final Fantasy.
Like,
debatable, but yes.
Can you guys not agree though? Whatever Final Fantasy soundtrack,
who cares,
does it for you.
Who cares which was your favorite one?
It doesn't matter which one your favorite one. Can you not agree though? Whatever one you consider favorite or whatever tracks you consider your favorite, can you not agree that it changed your life?
It
did.
Has there not been points where you just feel like shit or you just don't know what to do with yourself and you just know that you're gonna listen to like your favorite song from your favorite Final Fantasy and it's gonna like cheer you up? Like, let's just put it this way. It's so iconic that they literally created a concert, Distant Worlds.
Distant Worlds.
And this is not just something that they created and like it's just this side project. It is a concert that literally sells out everywhere it goes.
Yeah.
So that's got to tell you something. Speaking about Distant Worlds, you know, Distant Worlds came to Toronto this year.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, third time they've come to Toronto.
Yeah.
And this was a special, you know, performance. And why was it a special performance, Cam?
30th anniversary, baby.
Exactly.
Yep, 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy.
30 fucking years of this franchise. Can you believe it?
Yes, it's been Final Fantasy Mystic Quest USA's 30th birthday.
It's a little bit more popular than it was back then.
As you guys have noticed, you know, we're big Final Fantasy fans, so we wouldn't miss Distant Worlds for the world.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, God, no. Why?
Especially the 30th anniversary. We were there. ATG was
there. We were at Distant Worlds. It was so amazing. It was their third time here in Toronto. It was my third time there.
Second for me.
Third time for me too.
Yes, and it was just so amazing. Everything that they did from beginning to end, it was just so awesome. They've included new songs from FF15,
yes.
FF14. They made new arrangements for previous games too. You know, Final Fantasy VII, everybody's favorite. They did just so much this time. It was just mind blasting.
Definitely. There was a ton of songs that we loved. In fact, I think we appreciated pretty much every song they played.
Oh, yes.
However, us at ATG decided that our top 5 songs for this year's 2017 performance of Distant Worlds Toronto is... So, out of those top 5 songs, what made you think those were the best out of all the songs that they performed this year at Distant Worlds? They performed a lot of great songs, but
did.
you know, we collaborated and we agreed that those were the best. So tell me, why did you think those were the best?
They're just so epic. These songs, they fill you with such energy. They fill you with such, I don't know what this feeling is.
Too many human emotions, man.
Just, yes, emotions.
Well, it was a 30th anniversary, right? And we gotta all agree that these were probably some of the most iconic songs in our opinion.
Yes, definitely.
Agreed.
Do you think that each of these songs represents Final Fantasy to you?
It definitely does. Each song is just so full of power, so full of emotion, and they're all so epic. It does represent what Final Fantasy is. It's an epic adventure. It's an epic story. You have epic characters. It's epic.
Epic, epic, epic. You know what though? I'm not gonna lie, out of these lists, each of these songs represent a different part of the game. Cosmic Canyon was very calm in the town. Apocalyptic Noctis, shit's going down. This is my moment kind of thing.
Totally.
Clash on a Bridge was the recurring boss theme. When you hear this, like, ah, shit, I know what's going on here. The opera theme, wow.
Wow.
That's all I gotta say about that. It's just wow.
I think you're right, Cam. I think each theme fills you with different emotions. Like Cosmic Canyon, like you said, it's super relaxing. I've heard people tell me that whenever their kid, when they were like a toddler or like a baby, couldn't sleep and were crying, like they would play Cosmic Canyon and it would just put their kid to sleep.
It works.
Obviously, it would depend on each kid, but it's one of those songs, it just relaxes you. Like for me, I totally play when I'm playing League of Legends.
It literally touches you. It like it
Oh yeah,
soothes you.
When people are feeding, you play some Cosmic Canyon, no rage. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe a little rage,
but it helps.
but less rage.
Less rage.
So there you go. That's one emotion. Then you have Battle on the Big Bridge or Clash on the Big Bridge.
Whichever
Yeah.
version, yes.
Well, there's a ton of versions.
Yes, there was.
Basically, this is the boss theme for Gilgamesh.
Yes.
It started in FF5 and it's just been remixed, but it's the same basic theme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is the basic, and like I said, the recurring theme. You knew when you heard it.
Exactly.
You knew.
But here's the thing. When you first heard that song, you knew you were in for an epic battle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Like-
it was a different theme from everyone else's from the generic boss battle.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I agree
it was
with
also
you.
yeah, exactly. You had the generic boss battle thing. Then you had this, and it was a little different. And it's really cool because every time you fight Gilgamesh, it's like on a bridge now.
Yeah, yeah, that is so cool.
It just you knew that it was epic.
Yeah.
It made you have that kind of like uneasy feeling because you know shit was gonna go down. You didn't know how hard it was gonna be or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you listen to it now, it just fills you up with energy. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, Cam, you have Apocalyptus Noctis, which is very similar to Clash on the Big Bridge. It's just this theme that slowly builds up, and as you build up, you know shit's gonna happen.
Yes.
And it just builds up slowly, slowly, slowly. And as you're playing it, it kind of builds up your emotions slowly, slowly, slowly too, right? So you're like, you start off and you're like, yeah, and then you're like, yo, I'm going to town.
the character is realizing this is what I gotta do as this theme is slowly building up.
Exactly.
The second he gets into that battle, that drop kicks in.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, because it's not only building up the urgency for the character, it's building up in your head the urgency that you know, like you said, as soon as that drop happened,
Shit's going down.
exactly.
Yes.
Then you got Torn from the Heavens. You know, Rose,
Yes.
talk about that one.
Yeah.
That one's one of your favorite
Roro?
songs.
Oh, I really like that one. Fills you up with this, I guess, triumphant feeling.
Triumphant. That,
Yeah.
yes, agreed.
Perfect. You know what? Perfectly explained. You're
Perfectly
right.
explained, yes.
It fills you up with this victorious
the
Yes.
victory,
feeling.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. You did it. You
Yeah.
just, you finished
But
it.
you didn't
Not
just
finished
do it. You
No.
did something that you had no business doing.
Yeah.
You beat the odds.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what
The
I mean?
odds,
You
yes,
beat
yes.
the odds. And it fills you up with, you know, that feeling. Perfect explanation.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Exactly. And then you have the opera theme from FF6, which in my opinion just fills you with kind of like, I don't know how to say it, but like it fills you with like.
It takes you on an adventure.
It takes you on an adventure of its own.
But it's not even an adventure. Like, it fills you with beauty. I don't know how to describe it. You know,
It
you know
is
what
beautiful.
I mean?
It was the first of its kind as well.
First of its kind. When you listen to this theme, it was just like a roller coaster of emotion.
It was. Yeah.
And it wasn't an emotion of victory or an emotion of triumph and like this and that. It was like a journey.
Yes.
Something that you didn't experience in any other RPG. It basically took you out of this world of battle and chaos and into this different world where, you know, none of that mattered, right?
It was in a world of its own.
World of its own. Exactly.
It was a distant world.
Whoa.
Okay, well done.
And come on, at the end where you fought Ultros,
Yes, that recurring boss who wanted to sabotage, you're like, this is gonna feel great.
definitely. And come on, like I loved, not only did the music make you feel like you're on this own little journey and adventure, when you got to pick the different lyrics as the song went on.
That's right. You had to pick the right one or you'd screw it all up.
But here's the thing that all these songs had in common, right? They all made you escape from reality. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
Agreed.
But here's the thing. Final Fantasy is an epic series of games, and there's so much music, and everybody has different songs that they love.
Of course.
And they'll never fit everything in it.
No.
No. There's just too damn many.
There's just too many songs, right? And here's the thing. For a 30th anniversary, you would think that they would want the most epic songs.
Of course.
Iconic songs.
Fan favorites.
Like we mentioned.
Because this is the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy, we felt that there were some songs that needed to be included in the arrangement, but were not. So these are ATG's top 5 picks of songs that should have been included in Distant Worlds 2017.
Distant worlds together, miracles from realms beyond. The lifeline burns inside me to sing to you this song, to sing with you this song.
Out of these 5 here, I'm not gonna lie, I was sorely disappointed that it did not show up.
Yeah, especially considering they actually have Distant World renditions of each one of these songs.
Of course.
And some of them are like fantastic. For example, the Decisive Battle.
Really good one.
It was on, you know, that special Distant World CD?
A New World.
A New World, right?
World.
Because that's
Yes.
never been performed, right?
No.
It was just like a CD that they did.
their own studio thing.
It was an intimate performance. It's really funny because I actually own a CD. At the end of each song, you hear clap clapping in the CD, and I.
But there's no clapping in the other Distant World
No, there isn't. It's so like they did this in front of a live audience.
Oh, that's still pretty damn cool.
So it was a live recording. That would have been awesome. So they did perform this, and I guess somewhere.
Yes
Somewhere.
and no, yes and no, yeah, somewhere. Dude, the Distant World's main theme. How the hell could you not have that?
Yes,
Oh my God,
because
you're right.
not only was it Final Fantasy's 30th anniversary, it was also the 10th year that Distant World's been running. They should have included Distant World's main theme.
That's true, because they started Distant Worlds
10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's in the damn name!
but they started it on Final Fantasy's anniversary.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, exactly. It's in the name. That's like doing a Mario concert.
And would not have the Mario main theme.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda not have the main theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Seriously.
They really should have brought Susan Calloway back to sing because
Oh, that voice was
her
phenomenal.
voice is just so beautiful. She's done a lot of songs in the Final Fantasy series. She did Distant Worlds for Final Fantasy 11. She also sang for Final Fantasy 14 Answers. She
Yes.
also did Dragon's Song. Which one was that from?
I believe Dragon Song was also 14.
It was 14 as well?
Yes.
I think in Distant Worlds, she also performed the English version of Suteki Dane.
She just travels with them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I didn't understand. At first, I was like, okay, I understand why she's not here because they had to pay those opera singers. But then I heard the opera singers, and then I was like, you know, clearly they didn't spend their whole budget on the opera singers
Well,
because.
there's one thing I'm not gonna lie that's pretty cool. Like wherever they go perform, they grab the local talent from that town.
They did.
Wait, quotations, talent.
Yes, the
Okay,
talent.
guys, as much as I love Distant Worlds, the choir was.
The Tellus Choir.
Wasn't that strong?
Let's just put it this way. The reason why we didn't include One Winged Angel on our top 5 list was because the Tellus choir didn't understand the pitch
Yes,
That
the
they
pitch was
needed.
important.
They did
That is
not
correct.
understand it.
for the Sephiroth part. In
Yeah.
fact, I think the audience did a better job.
I know I did a better job.
Oh yeah, yeah, we did a good
For
job.
those of you who don't know, whenever they perform One Winged Angel at Distant Worlds, Nobuo always comes up and he's just like, okay, you guys have to sing along. And then everybody just goes, Sephiroth, or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, and then like everybody does it. It's a really fun,
It's fun.
interactive thing,
Interaction,
right?
yes,
Yes.
that's great.
And considering the choir really didn't practice that song.
Butchered.
Okay, I'm being nice.
Fuck that.
I said didn't practice. They had
They
others-
ruined it.
They butchered it.
we saved it, guys. We saved, like our row, we just saved it.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but back to the should have been songs. What about Fight with Seymour?
Fight with Seymour.
Oh,
That's a
I
nice
really
one.
liked Fight
the
with
acoustics
Seymour.
of that one in the PS2 song alone was good. Now Distant Worlds version,
Totally.
phenomenal.
And the Seymour fight was a pretty epic fight too.
of course,
Yes.
of course.
Like I think that's one of the defining fights in all.
because it was the final one of Seymour.
Yeah, it had a really memorable melody as well.
Total. Well, it was a really memorable fight too because it combined like a puzzle aspect, right? 'Cause
Yes.
You had the
Yeah.
little wheels and everything. I think that tune and that fight alone is very memorable. I think it should have been included in the 30th anniversary.
Yes, I totally agree with that. But you know what though? Dancing Mad. Fuck the One Wing Angel. Dancing Mad is so much more epic.
Okay,
Yeah.
definitely, and I get why they included One Winged Angel.
It is the
Fuck
most.
Sephiroth.
Yeah, fuck stuff. I mean, sure, it's the most popular fan favorite. But One Wing Angel, look how many times it changes throughout playing it. You know, you have the calm organ, and then
Oh yeah, you have the choir.
yeah, you got the choir, and then when the drop kicks in, the drums kick in.
Yeah.
And by the way, Rose, it's fuck Sephiroth.
Okay.
Alright, let me do that again. Fuck Sephiroth.
There you go.
Yeah.
Much better. They should hire you for the Tellus choir.
Right? But Dancing Mad should be there as well.
Yes.
The fact that they didn't include that honestly hurts me.
Yeah, of course.
Because I know it's a long song, and that might be a reason why. Because, you know, there's a time limit.
But dude, it's just as long as One Winged Angel when you think about it.
Yeah, but I think like they would have burned down the Sony Center if they didn't play One Winged Angel.
Actually, One Winged Angel's like about 5 minutes. Dancing Mad is like 10 minutes.
10 minutes of
So it's-
awesomeness.
So it's like, yeah, double One Winged Angel.
It's double, okay,
But,
okay.
even though it's a long song and I get it, they need to restrain time. It's too epic not to play.
It is.
And
It
it's
is.
so iconic. Like, as soon as the first beat hits, you know it's Dancing Mad.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, the way how it just transitions different parts of the song.
Well, what about you, Cam? They didn't play, like, one of your favorite songs, like, ever. Like, you actually mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. The Battle of the Four Fiends. I was hurt that they didn't play this one. They played it the last time we were there.
Yeah.
They didn't play this one. I was so hurt.
You were like, this didn't deserve to be played for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
like, that song
exactly.
was not good enough.
Clearly that song was not good enough.
How does
guys.
that make you feel?
Whew.
The part of Final Fantasy IV when you were a kid, you just finished describing how that part made the whole game for you.
Yes, it's
And it was not good enough to make the 30th anniversary.
like the Clash on the Big Bridge. Those guys had their own theme.
Exactly.
And if you could bring Clash to the Big Bridge, why not Battle of the Four Fiends?
Exactly.
It hurt a lot that it didn't show up.
Or you could have remixed it into Battle with the Four Fiends on the Bridge.
Oh, or a medley version of that.
Actually, they could have done a really cool medley.
Of the special
all
boss
the
themes.
battle
Yeah,
songs?
like you said, Battle with the Four Fiends on the Big Bridge with Seymour. You know, that would have been
That would have been amazing.
But here's the thing: if you guys know these songs, they would actually work.
Yeah.
They have actually done battle medleys.
Yeah, but it was just like the regular battle themes. This could have
No,
been like,
they had the Clash of the Big Bridge in there as well.
Oh, then they
it
should-
actually was.
Then why pick? They should have just done all the battle. They should have done the battle theme medley then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All
So
right.
why the hell not?
Because they had the Telus Choir.
Of course
And they
they
had
did.
limitations. Actually, could you imagine the Telus Choir doing the choir part of Dancing Mad?
Oh God.
Like, you know what? Maybe it's good then.
No,
Dancing
okay,
Mad.
no. If they did that, I'm pretty sure Nobuo would have to perform seppuku.
He would just leave. It's like, where'd Nobuo go?
But you know what? To be fair, they weren't bad for Apocalypsis Noctis.
No, you're right. And they were actually really good for Liberi Fatali as well.
But as
Yeah.
you said, the pitch for Sephiroth, that was it.
And they ruined the opera.
They.
Details, they are important.
Which really sucks. The reason why I included the opera theme in our previous top 5 was because this was actually a first. They
Agreed.
actually created
Extended version.
extended, as Nobuo said himself, this is what he considered was the complete version.
Yeah.
Yes,
which
yes.
blew my mind. I was like, oh, I can't wait. And honestly, if they ever put this on a CD, because they have the original opera theme on the Distant World CDs.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
great. But if they ever put this completed theme onto a CD, I'm sure it'll be fantastic.
Of course.
Unfortunately, the talent they chose and the choir that they chose, which, like you said, it's awesome that picking Toronto choir.
The locals.
The locals. Well, we have the locals, like the Toronto Trans Harmonic
Yeah.
Orchestra, right?
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
They killed it. It's just a choir. And previous choirs were great too.
They were.
It's just this choir. Like, honestly, I just feel that they may not have had enough time to practice or something. I
It
don't know.
happens.
Probably.
For all we know, it
Or
happens.
you know what? Maybe they were just nervous.
Yeah, speaking of nervous, they invited a narrator in the opera.
And the narrator screwed up in the opera.
screwed
He
up.
screwed up.
That's
he had
correct.
he had one job to narrate, and he didn't do it.
What? Job, bro.
Yeah, like it's not even why did they ruin this for me?
Yeah, like, dude, I ain't gonna lie. The second the song came on, I'm like, yo, Tom's gonna love this. The second they started speaking, Tom's gonna hate this.
I turned to Rose and I'm like, I can't believe they're playing this. Then I turn around, why are they playing this? Oh man, but you know what, guys? I think in general, though, it was an amazing performance. Like, I don't regret going.
Of course
No.
not.
I
Never.
think it was worth every penny.
Definitely. I enjoyed it every time I go. I shout Nobuo's name. I
Yes.
wave at him.
And then he waves at everybody. And
He
you're
looks
like,
at
me, said hi.
He looks at me and he waves back, though he may be waving at the other people behind me.
But
he was
regardless,
definitely
Senpai
waving at
has
me.
noticed us.
Yes, he did.
And you-
Actually, Senpai really noticed you, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
What did Senpai Nobuo do to you?
Nobuo Senpai actually signed a copy of the vinyl I had purchased.
did you touch his ponytail?
I wish I did.
Like, you've heard the rumors. His ponytail has magic powers, and if you touch it, you live an extra 20 years.
yeah, I believe it's made with the infused liquids of the potions.
Yeah, in fact, the only known chocobo lives inside the ponytail.
Yeah.
That's where they got the idea in FF13.
Yes,
I
that's
had
correct.
no idea.
Yeah, that's based off of, Nobuo's ponytail. There's a chocobo that lives in
But
there.
these are the rumors. They have not been confirmed yet.
Like, no one's touched his actual ponytail except for his
Yeah.
wife.
But dude,
so-
yeah, that vinyl I purchased and he signed it.
Yeah. That
That's
was...
amazing.
Mhm. Did you get to see his dog?
I did not. They didn't bring his dog there.
He always points it out, right? He goes,
He just
this is
points
my
it out.
dog,
Yeah, he
Poco.
just points it out just right there, and he signs it. That's so cool. I didn't even expect him to do that.
Just
Right.
as my dog Poco.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
He's a really cool dude.
I love the energy he brings as well. He'll come out to the crowd, wave. He even performed with the choir during Sephiroth.
Yes.
Because he actually interacts.
Yeah,
and
he was
chills.
in the audience. He was Sephirothing with the rest
That's
of
what I'm
us.
saying. That's so cool. The amount of loot we pick up from there.
Well,
Yes.
that's the good thing about Distant Worlds, right? They have an awesome is, because it has awesome stuff. Less awesome because it's probably one of the most unorganized
Merchandise
booths I've ever been to.
Holy shit, that
it's
lineup.
Like, it's like like they throw merchandise to like rabid animals and people like fight to see who can get the last CD or whatever.
Honestly, there's like, what, 3,000 people in attendance and
Yeah.
only 2 people at the merchandise booth.
Yeah, you
What logic is that? It would make more sense to one booth on this side, one booth on that side. Why not?
or at least have some of those velvet ropes so people wouldn't like
an
punch each
actual
other.
lineup.
Yeah. Instead of people just kind of like funnel in like livestock. It's crazy. But you know
really
what?
is.
It was worth the funneling, I guess.
The funneling. It was just worth that we picked up loot.
Yeah, and well, you know, I'm not a big loot fan, especially at concerts, but when it comes to Final Fantasy music, I have to pick up the vinyls.
Yep.
Yes.
Actually, because I already have Final Fantasy Distant Worlds 1 and 2 CD. They didn't come last year, so I didn't get to pick up 3. And this year they released 4.
That's right. At the time, 3 and 4 were not released.
No.
And to be fair, the prices are not that bad.
No.
Like they're not cheap, but you know what? A Distant Worlds t-shirt's $20, man. I was at the Guns N' Roses concert and a t-shirt was like $50, so like that was a deal.
Yeah.
know what I
And
mean?
like,
Yeah.
you know, the Distant World CD is $15 per. That's not too bad at
Yeah,
all.
actually, that's perfectly acceptable.
Not
Even the
only that-
vinyl, yeah, for $30 was not bad.
Not
Yeah.
only that, not only did they have Distant World CDs, they actually had soundtracks for the other games as well.
That's right.
Those-
Individual soundtracks.
Those were a little pricey, but you know what? I don't blame them because I have some of the original soundtracks, and they were definitely the original soundtracks for the
And
game.
you know,
Yeah.
what? I don't blame them because there are like 3 CDs in them anyway.
Well, it's
So
not,
it's all
just,
good.
it's not just that.
4 CDs,
like
yeah.
these soundtracks, from what I saw, are the originals from like '96. Like the
Yeah.
FF7 one I have that
Just
soundtrack,
straight from the game.
and it's the same soundtrack that I had, and the game came out. It's like the Japanese soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
So these are the
Imported? Why not? Yeah.
Well, they are definitely imported. So like it's really cool that you have the opportunity to buy that. We're only available
in Japan.
in
Or
Japan.
online.
I don't know, guys. I think to conclude, what we're trying to say is that no matter what we may have not liked or what we thought was maybe not the best at Distant Worlds, it really doesn't make a difference because they played Final Fantasy music in an orchestra setting.
What more can one ask for?
Me, myself, I think it was worth every penny. Like, I'm going back when it comes back to Toronto. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I'm
Definitely.
going to be there again.
I regret nothing.
I went 3 times. I will go 3 more times and more.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And you know what, guys? If you ever have an opportunity to go see Distant Worlds again when they come back, just do it, man. You're not going to regret it.
Check it out.
You may not even be a fan of the series. It's just the experience alone. They have a giant screen that shows the moments when the songs were playing anyways.
Oh, totally. This is not like a geeky thing. Like it is. That's why we're talking about it. But this is a whole an orchestra experience. Like you're going to the symphony.
Regardless, yeah.
You dress nice and you go there and like everybody's dressed nice and the people who are performing, they're in suits and tuxedos and it's like you're going to listen to Beethoven if Beethoven was cool.
Yeah. No, nonetheless. And can you imagine how many casuals were actually there for all we know?
It's a good way, even if you're not familiar with
The series?
not even the series. If you're not familiar with an orchestra in general, it's a great first time, especially trying to get kids there nowadays. So it's a great way to get your kids to enjoy some classical music because it is classical music, right?
Yes,
it is.
regardless.
In more ways than one, I guess. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Catch us next time when we are going to introduce our new podcast, Podcast 2.0, and we're going to let you guys know about that on our Facebook page, our Instagram. Subscribe. We need your support. We want to bring you a lot more content.
Like the video?
We want more copyright allowances. I don't know how to describe it.
To get overlooked
Yeah.
of the copyright infringements.
We do a lot of giveaways, so we're definitely going to think of a really cool giveaway to give to you guys if we hit 150 subscribers.
Yeah, of
because
course.
that's not only going to help us with our podcast, it's not going to help us bring content to you guys, but it's also we're going to celebrate, man. You guys are going to win something really cool.
You know,
man.
we just want to talk about what we love.
Yeah, whatever.
So why not be a part of that?
Exactly. So let us know in the comments what you like. Let us know what you think 150 subscriber giveaway should be, or maybe keep it relatively cheap. We ain't getting you guys like game systems, but something cool, right? So let us know what you think. Give us your comments, subscribe, like, and we'll catch you next time, guys. Guys, as you know, we have a giveaway. Last episode we talked all about MTG, and we had an interview with Seth Black.
Yeah.
Who was second place at Eternal Weekend, and he was nice enough to give us this awesome, autographed playmat to give to you guys, our fans. To enter the contest, all you had to do was either subscribe to our YouTube channel and like that video, or share the post off our Facebook page and like that as well. And a lot of you guys did do that. So we have a hat filled with your names, and yeah, man, Cam here is gonna draw a winner.
All right, let's do this, guys.
All right, ready? And the winner is...
Sorry, give me a sec. It is Jello Geekery.
Jello Geekery. Woo!
Awesome.
Congrats, Jello Geekery. We're going to contact you on YouTube. find out your info, and we're gonna send that playmat out to you. Hope you like it.